Gather round, baby bats. Gather round, little darklings. It's getting late, and there are stories to be told. The earth was still damp from the early morning shower, globules of rain clinging on to newly reinvigorated blades of green grass. A lolling fog clung to the grassy knoll and continued to obscure the road that Maître Henri, Albert, and a small band of men and horses were traveling on. As they neared ever closer to the castle walls they called home, Albert, riding alongside Maître Henri, chuckles to himself and turns to Henri. "Weather permitting, I feel good knowing I'll soon be home again. Another long but successful campaign, my friend." Henri gives a half-smile and then grimaces slightly. "It would have been much shorter had we not run out of supplies mid-campaign. We were fortunate that the Count came about when he did." Albert laughs heartily and interjects, "Only a sure sign that we are doing God's work. Fortune has nothing to do with it. May His will be done. And besides, Henri, I will not have any successful campaign that I am involved with sullied with gambler's luck taking credit." Henri gives Albert a pointed look and a sly smile, and inevitably gives in to Albert's infectious laughter. "Perhaps you are right, my friend, though Enos would have me sleeping with the livestock if she were to catch me encouraging your indomitable pride." "At least they would want it," Albert manages to blurt out through his cackling. "Connard!" Henri shouted, before yet again succumbing to Albert's infectious laughter. The outline of the castle turrets could be seen through the fog, and all conversation dropped as each man rested their eyes upon her calming visage. For the first time in a long while, relief spread through the troop. They were home at last. Henri and Albert locked eyes and gave each other a nod before kicking their horses into a full gallop, racing past the rest of the troop. One was just as determined as the other to be the first to arrive at the castle gates, the budding yew trees whipping by along the road. Henri and Albert's hearts were aflutter with excitement and anticipation, but that feeling was soon overcome by a cold pit in their stomachs. Slowing their horses to a halt, they had both noticed it. Henri shot a worried look at Albert, who gave a solemn nod in response. The guards were missing. With caution, they brought their horses to a canter until they had reached the gates, dismounting once they had made it inside. It was barren within the castle walls, no sign of life to be seen. Henri frantically scanned for the slightest glimmer of hope, but acknowledged that the worst may have happened. The fire from the blacksmith's ironworks had been extinguished. The vendors that had littered the streets were nowhere to be seen. And the most disturbing yet was the total silence. "What happened, Albert?" Henri pleaded for reason, his heart sinking with every passing second. Albert finished giving the area a stern examination before approaching Henri closely. "Look around, Henri. What do you see?" Albert asked slowly, almost a whisper. "There is no bloodshed. Nothing in ruin. No scorch marks of fire spread, nor are there any doors or stands in splinters. This is most peculiar, my friend. But fret not. We will get to the bottom of this. We have God on our side, soothed Albert. Henri dropped to his knees and bowed his head to the ground, preemptively grieving the demise of his kingdom. Raising his head from the ground, Henri has a thought. The Great Hall, Albert! Albert, we must inspect the Great Hall! Without another word, the two of them sprint for the Great Hall, their last bastion of hope. Henri clutches to his faith in the idea that there must be at least one person, one living thing left inside the castle. Even if there were one survivor who stole themselves away to witness what happened here from a Judas, it would be enough to at least begin wrapping his head around this. Henri and Albert entered through the screen's passage and took an immediate step back with a simultaneous gasp. The walls were coated with emerald moths. As Henri and Albert beheld the sight of hundreds, thousands of moths, there was a stillness to the room until an abrupt eruption of thousands of fluttering wings roared in a chaotic frenzy. The two men recoiled in horror, for they could not comprehend the event. They shielded their eyes from the storm of emerald moths, strikingly emerald, a maelstrom of emerald, blinding in its ferocity and greatness. Once the storm had waned, Henri and Albert uncovered their eyes and saw standing before them a humanoid figure comprised of many emerald moths.
Hello,
It spoke. Its voice sounded like the resonant hum of 100 wasps' nests.
do not be alarmed. I have come to liberate you of your humanity. You may rejoice in knowing that this great burden shall be lifted.
The moment it finished speaking, Albert started to say or ask something, but was interrupted by one of the footmen from the troop now entering the hall, who upon seeing the creature had let out a terrified shriek while drawing his sword. The creature raised its arm, pointing at the footman, who in an instant burst into a cloud of moths, silent.
Demon!
Bellowed Albert. The moth unity tilted its head, perplexed.
You call me a demon. You who slay and maim and kill for blood sport and conquest, for glory and above all else for fun. You dare accuse me of being a demon. I will repeat myself. I have come to liberate you of your humanity, since the responsibility has proven to be far too great.
We did what we had done in the name of God! It was His will that we expose His glory to the savages, to the world! Countered Henri.
No, you did what you did in the name of your God because it legitimated your acts of cruelty. There's a difference. Why else would I be here?
I will not be punished for my piety, for my love of God!
Barked Albert as he drew his dagger.
You are being punished for your arrogance and your pride. You know not what it is to be pious or to love. Be calm. Be still.
And with those words, Albert had been transformed into a swarm of moths.
Albert!
Cried Henri, collapsing on all fours.
What were those words your kind inscribed so long ago?
The moth unity pondered aloud.
Ah, yes. like a moth to a flame drawn by fire. In a sense, we too are drawn to God by his will. Thy will be done.
Sleep tight, kiddos.